You know, there are some stories, some mysteries that just get under your skin and stay there. And for me, and for so many people, the Dyatlov Pass Incident is one of them. It's a name that has haunted investigators for more than 60 years. It starts out like an incredible adventure, but it ends as one of the most terrifying, unsolved nightmares in modern history.
So I want you to really think about this for a second. What could be so absolutely terrifying, so horrifying, that it makes 9 seasoned, expert hikers slice their tents open from the inside and just run? Run out into a blizzard in the dead of night, without their boots, without their coats. I mean, what kind of fear makes you do that?
9. That's how many of them there were. 9 bodies, eventually found scattered all across this desolate, frozen mountainside. They were all young, all experienced mountaineers. They went out for an adventure, and they just never came home.
All right, let's set the scene. We're in 1959, deep in the remote Ural Mountains of the Soviet Union. The group sets up their last camp on the slopes of a mountain. Now, the local indigenous people, the Mansi, they have a name for this place. They call it Kholat Syakhl. And if that doesn't send a chill down your spine, its translation will. It means the mountain of the dead.
So here's how it all went down, and it happened fast. 10 hikers start the journey. One gets sick and has to turn back. A decision that, wow, absolutely saved his life. The other 9 press on, setting up their final camp on February 1st. Then, silence. Weeks go by. A search party finally finds the camp, completely abandoned and shredded. And then, over the next few months, they find the bodies. And by May, just like that, the case is closed, abruptly.
The scene at the camp, it just screamed pure, unadulterated panic. The first thing they noticed? The tent was sliced open. But not from the outside like an animal attack. No, it was cut open from the inside. And the footprints leaving the tent? They showed people running barefoot or just in their socks straight into temperatures that were hitting -30 Celsius. This wasn't a plan. This was a frantic, desperate escape. And then, they started finding the bodies. The first few seemed straightforward, tragically so. They had frozen to death. It made sense. But then they found the last group of hikers, and the story just took this horrifying turn. The coroner's report, it's just chilling. It said they had injuries, fractured skulls, crushed ribs, consistent with the force of a major car crash. Think about that. What could do that to a person out in the middle of nowhere?
Okay, and this is where the story goes from a tragic mystery to something else entirely, something that just defies logic. How do you get those car crash-level internal injuries, but with almost no external bruises? It makes no sense. It's like they were squeezed by some unbelievable, invisible force. And it gets worse. One of the women, Lyudmila Dubinina, was found with her tongue and eyes missing. And if that's not enough to blow your mind, some of their clothes tested positive for radiation.
So when you put all these bizarre, contradictory clues together, you're really left with 2 main roads you can go down. On one hand, you have nature's wrath, a rare, powerful, and terrifying natural event. And on the other hand, you have a secret cover-up. The idea that this was man-made and that someone tried to hide the evidence.
All right, let's explore theory number 1, the one most scientists lean towards, a slab avalanche. Now don't think of fluffy powder sliding down a hill. No, a slab avalanche is different. It's like a whole sheet, a giant, heavy plate of compacted snow that breaks loose and slides down as one solid block. The pressure it creates is immense.
And you can see how this theory kind of makes sense, right? Step 1. The slab of snow hits the tent, maybe crushing part of it. The hikers inside freak out, thinking they're about to be buried alive. So step 2, they slash their way out. Step 3, in the pitch-black chaos of the blizzard, they get lost, separated. And then finally, hypothermia takes over, which can cause confusion, even that strange thing called paradoxical undressing, where you feel hot and start taking your clothes off. It seems plausible. But wait a minute, let's really think about that. The avalanche theory has a huge, glaring hole in it. If a massive slab of snow was heavy enough to crush a human chest and fracture a skull, how in the world did it not leave any significant bruises on the outside of their bodies? That kind of force would be devastating. The physics doesn't seem to work.
And here's the real kicker that the avalanche theory just can't answer. The radiation. How does snow, any kind of snow, explain radioactive contamination on their clothes? It can't. There's no way. Suddenly, the compelling natural force explanation starts to look really, really weak.
Which, of course, brings us to the other theory, the darker theory, the one that suggests the hikers didn't just have bad luck, but that they were in the wrong place at the wrong time.
that they accidentally witnessed a secret Soviet weapons test out there in the middle of nowhere.
Now, as crazy as it sounds, look at how this theory lines up the weirdest facts. Those massive internal injuries with no external signs? Well, a concussive blast wave from an explosion could do that. The radiation? Check. That makes perfect sense. Family members even reported the bodies had a strange orange, almost tanned look to them. And maybe the biggest red flag of all? One of the hikers, Semyon Zolotaryev, was an ex-soldier. Coincidence? Maybe.
Okay, but let's pump the brakes. This is all speculation. If there was some secret weapon test, some massive explosion, where's the evidence? Search parties scoured that area. They found no crater, no shrapnel, no residue from a blast. You're telling me the military conducted a massive cover-up that was so perfect they didn't leave a single trace? It's a stretch.
And what did the official investigation say? Well, in the end, the Soviet authorities shut the whole thing down. Their official cause of death was a compelling natural force. I mean, what does that even mean? It's so ridiculously vague, it's almost an admission that they didn't know or didn't want to say. And that answer satisfied absolutely no one.
But the mystery isn't quite over, because there's one last clue, one final, haunting piece of the puzzle. Rescuers found one of the group's cameras. The film inside, perfectly preserved by the cold. And the very last picture on that roll, well, it captured something odd. It's a blurry, strange photograph of these bright, orange orbs of light hanging in the night sky. To this day, nobody can say for sure what it is. A camera malfunction? Orbs from a weapons test? Something else entirely? And that's where we're left, with that one final, unanswerable question. What was the last thing they saw? What was it that sent them running for their lives into the frozen dark?